welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Megan Rancier, and I will be leading service today along with Melanie Stinson. Robin Perry and Kevin McClooney are providing technical assistance today. Thank you all so much for tuning in and being present in this virtual space. We're glad that we can keep in touch and support our community, even if we can't be together in person. Please be aware that we are recording this service and it will be posted on our Facebook and YouTube pages. However, we always pause the recording during joys and concerns so that you can feel comfortable bringing those into this space. We seek inspiration and meaning from a great many faith traditions and philosophies. We support each other's lifelong spiritual journey, and we encourage work for justice and peace. We value open minds and loving hearts. Here, may our minds stretch, our hearts open, and our spirits deepen. Please take a moment to think of all your friends at MVUUC. Greet them with a comment in the chat box, and remember that you can still reach out to them through email, phone, social media, or video chat. Physical distancing does not need to mean emotional distancing. Let us support one another. Visitors, as we are a diverse group with varying interests and beliefs, our services are varied in format, tone, and topic. We encourage you to view several services to gain a good understanding of our congregation. If you'd like to receive our weekly email newsletter, please email us at news@mvuuc.org, and that email address should appear in the chat box shortly. MVUUC remains committed to supporting our members and friends during this difficult time of social distancing. For that reason, we are coordinating assistance with groceries, phone calls, and other needs. If this sounds like something that would be helpful to you, please send an email to sac@mvuuc.org with your name and what kind of assistance you would like to request. And that email address is in the chat, SAC. Now is the time for announcements. Announcements can be sent ahead of time to services@mvuuc.org to be read. If you have an important announcement now, you can raise your hand by clicking the raise hand button in the reactions tab at the bottom of the Zoom window. Then we will announce your name and turn on your mic and camera so you can make your announcement yourself. Robin, are there any announcements today?
Yes, I know that Sam has some announcements about pledges, so I'm going to ask him to start his video.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sam Maccabee, treasurer here at MVUC, and I just wanted to give you a quick update on the pledge drive, which we've wrapped up, but are still accepting some pledges. So at the moment, we have hit $62,810, which is 93% of our goal of $67,500. So great job, everybody. It's awesome. And I know there's a couple more that are still coming in the mail. But if you have not yet had the opportunity to pledge, please feel free to do so. There is still the link to the form in the newsletter. That's the word I was looking for. And you can email that to me at treasurer@mvuuc.org, which I just put into the chat. Or if you don't have time to fill out the pledge and you just want to give me numbers and the frequency with which you want to donate, that's great too. So thanks everyone, done a great job, and hopefully we can just pull in those last few and we'll be able to hit our target.
Thanks,
Thank you
Sam.
so much, Sam, and thank you so much for all the work you do as treasurer for our congregation. Robin, what else do we have?
Let me refresh the services email. I'm not currently seeing any more additional announcements, but
That's fine. I actually have a few, so we can stall a bit while I make my announcements. First of all, thank you to everybody who participated in the Slippery Elm Trail cleanup yesterday. It was a great group of, I would say, about 10 people, maybe more. We got a lot of trash, so it was a really successful gathering, and I appreciate everybody taking the time. I thought we were only going to be out there for an hour. We were actually out there for almost 2, which tells you about how effective we were and how thorough we were in our cleanup. So congratulations to everybody. We will be having a meeting of the Social Action Committee on the last Tuesday of this month. Usually we meet on Wednesdays, but I've moved the meeting to Tuesday because there was a scheduling conflict. So I will be letting people know ahead of time. So just look for that. The last Tuesday of April will be our meeting. And then our next anti-racism book club meeting will be on Monday evening, Monday, April 26th. And we're going to discuss, I think, chapters 8 and 9. So again, usually we meet on Thursdays, but this time we're meeting on a Monday just to accommodate schedule changes. So look for all of that information in our newsletter. And I look forward to hearing from folks about that. So.
Oh, I know that there is actually one more announcement.
Perfect.
So today after service at 1 p.m., we will kind of be restarting the new Spirit and Practice group, which will be using this book that I have right here, Heart to Heart. So I believe that is going to be led more by Pam Summons and Winnie Rex. But you can stay on and or join us at 1 p.m. for kind of a restart of that program.
Wonderful.
And
Great.
I think that's it now.
Thank you very much.
Oh wait, actually Matheos has an announcement, so I am going to ask to unmute and start video.
Robin, someone never got back to me on volunteering on stuff. I replied to the email, and no one ever got back to me.
Okay, we can definitely make sure that someone gets back to you. I can do that today after service.
Great, thanks.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to miss out on any willing volunteer. So great, I think we'll move on to the chalice lighting now.
All right.
The chalice will be lit today by Megan. Please join me in reading the words for the chalice lighting that appear as a comment in the chat box. May the light of truth illumine our minds. May the spark of love set our hearts on fire. May the flame of freedom burn brightly within us, now and always. Richard M. Fuchs.
And now let us sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. You can find the lyrics in the chat box, or you can follow the closed captions in the video.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Our opening words for today come from 3 American writers, each of whom has a different perspective on the subject of art. First, from American writer James Baldwin, who says, "All art is a kind of confession, more or less oblique. All artists, if they are to survive, are forced at last to tell the whole story, to vomit the anguish up." From American writer Kurt Vonnegut, who says, "The arts are not a way to make a living. They are a very human way of making life more bearable. Practicing an art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow, for heaven's sake. Sing in the shower, dance to the radio, tell stories, write a poem to a friend, even a lousy poem. Do it as well as you possibly can. You will get an enormous reward. You will have created something." And finally, from American writer Alice Walker, who says, "Deliver me from writers who say the way they live doesn't matter. I'm not sure a bad person can write a good book. If art doesn't make us better, then what on earth is it for?"
Good morning, everyone. Today we are celebrating World Art Day, which was on the 15th. And when I considered talking about this, I took to heart Susan Rogers' idea about healing art. And I see healing art in 3 different ways. That all arts are healing and or transformative. So you might want to think about, what does healing mean? Is it a shift? Is it a new way of thinking? And how are the arts healing or transformative? Sometimes there's no words in an orchestral piece of music or in a dance. It's some kind of envisioning or a feeling, or perhaps some kind of wonder and awe just wash over us. And what contributes to this? Well, there are the elements of art that belong to all art forms. They're just different according to the art that you're talking about. Elements like color and shape, rhythm, timing, pattern, dynamics, texture, contrast, such as light and dark. Art speaks to our soul or spirit. Think of music you love, a song, your favorite song. Is it the melody? Is it the words? Or is it a mixture of both? The second part of healing art that I want to talk about is intentionally healing art. I consider myself a healing artist. What does that mean? It means that I might meditate before I make a piece of art or I weave something. I might ask for an image, and it will appear either in my mind's eye or I'll see it somewhere as my day goes along. I also will pray over a piece of art. I will sing over it. I might say affirmations over it, and I put Reiki into it. And why Reiki? Because for me, Reiki goes to where it needs to go. So anybody viewing my art can come with a different need. They might not even know they have a need. And Reiki will somehow address that. Reiki is one of the most peace-inducing, relaxing kind of energy work that I know. Intentional healing art can also be a rain dance. It might be a community mural with an intent to heal some aspect of the community. The third part of my reflection is what I want to call healing with the arts, or healing through the arts, or arts in medicine. It is not art therapy. That's a whole different thing, and I don't feel qualified to talk about it. Healing with the arts is you and I. Maybe we don't consider ourselves artists. Some of us don't even consider ourselves creative. But if we looked at it in a different way, do we cook? Do we wrap presents and just love to put different things on them? That's creative. Do we garden? That's creative. And healing with the arts or through the arts helps any of us, any person, have that better life. There are two books that I like to use when I talk about this aspect of art. The first is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she calls it a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. She uses a lot of affirmations. She has quotes throughout the book, and she believes in certain tools, such as morning pages, which is a kind of journaling, taking a daily walk in nature just to let your mind clear and to fill up with images around you that might play a part in something that you do later on. She also has an artist date that you do once a week, and that's another way of what she calls refilling the well. She says that we have to be able to be bad artists in order to proceed on this journey of healing, rediscovering and recovering our creative self. The second book is very different from Julia Cameron's. It's called Healing with the Arts, a 12-week program to heal yourself and your community. It's by Michael Samuels, MD, and Mary Rockwood Lane, RN, PhD. This is a program that has been adapted, and it's used in hospitals throughout the nation. It's often used with people who have cancer and with children who have a terminal illness. It uses a lot of meditations and guided imagery so that you get in contact with your own inner healer and your own inner artist. It also tackles that inner critic that says, I'm not showing this to anyone because it's really, really, really bad. And you don't have to show your beginning work to anyone. I got through that part by saying, I'm just going to experiment. I'm just going to explore and see what happens. And that way, I'm kind of freed to just really make a mess and really, really not like something. Mary, who's the co-author of this book, completed her PhD thesis at the University of Florida College of Nursing, and she uses this, the interviews that she had to take over 4 years of people who had been through life crises or healed themselves of life-threatening illness. She analyzed the themes of how their personal healing occurred and discovered that there were patterns that emerged. When people said over and over again that they went to a place inside themselves where they experienced a shift of consciousness. And you might notice, if you remember how you felt when you came to the service, has that changed? As you look at the art, which is my art, are you feeling differently than you did before? What are you noticing? And when the service ends, how do you feel then? That's all part of healing or a shift of consciousness. People described feeling intensely alive and transformed when they went through this healing art process. Each person went from a place of profound darkness, fear, or illness to a place where they experienced luminous transcendence. From the metamorphosis, people said their spirit became palpably awakened and illuminated. The answer was that art heals by facilitating a spiritual experience that is deep and beautiful. I don't know how you all feel about art, but I feel blessed by it. Blessed by the art I can make, the songs I can sing, and also what I see and hear in the world around me. I am so grateful for the arts. I hope you are too. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. And I know you mentioned it in your reflection, but just so everyone knows, all of the artwork that you saw during Melanie's reflection was her own original work, which is pretty amazing. So I'm going to present a UU Principles Connection now. So however you define art and whatever role art plays in your life, I think it's pretty clear that artistic expression makes up a vital part of what it means to be human. For myself, I don't consider myself an artist, but I do work in a field that is focused on music. So I do spend a lot of time thinking about the arts in various ways, and especially as a fundamentally human activity. However, in preparation for today's service, Lynn Israel actually shared an article with me from Psychology Today, and the title of the article is, "Why Do Humans Make Art?" And in the opening paragraph of this article, there is this quote. So, quote, "Without culture, there really can't be art as we know it, because art cannot exist separate from culture. Art reflects culture, transmits culture, shapes culture, and comments on culture. There is just no way that animals can possibly experience art as we do," end quote. And it's interesting because in my field, ethnomusicology, we tend to think of music in the same way, that music is something that people do. And even though other creatures in the world create sound, and sometimes they create sound for purposes that might be similar to the purposes that we create sound for, we don't experience it or think about it in the same way. But this article goes on to speculate that perhaps animals, given enough time and contemplation, could very well come up with some form of expression that would capture a sense of the beautiful, and that the idea of beauty might not be limited to just human beings. So this thought right away is compelling in its own right, but it's also connected to our seventh principle, the interconnectedness of all life. And I think that's worth thinking about. But if you've been fortunate enough to have visited an art gallery or a museum in your lifetime, you likely realize that art isn't always about beauty. Think of all the artworks and expressive arts, both world famous and completely obscure, that show the ugliness of life and the world around us, the violence, the fear, the trauma, and the injustice. Just like James Baldwin talked about in his quote, that artists, if they want to survive, are forced to vomit up their anguish, to tell the whole story. Sometimes artists set out to make something beautiful from their pain. But at other times, they want to show their pain openly in all of its horribleness. And if we think about our first principle, the dignity and worth of every human being, we can more easily see that both of these approaches and everything between those two approaches are equally valid. Part of honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person is recognizing that artistic expression is a human right. Whether the viewer might interpret it as beautiful or ugly, enjoyable or challenging, professional or amateurish, the point is not to please other people. The point is to express what you are feeling and then do so in whatever way feels authentic and truthful, just like Melanie talked about in her reflection. And a few weeks ago, our friend Caitlin Ballinger, along with Susan Rogers, talked about mediocrity as a spiritual practice. And as an example, she showed her own artworks from the very beginning, where they were very simple and tentative, to the later examples that were increasingly detailed, colorful, and confident. These were a demonstration of how she empowered herself to try something new, to challenge herself, and to confront the ways that she defined success and failure. She talked about how for her, the point of creating was to let go of fear, to find joy in the act of creating, no matter the product, and to share that joy with the people around her. She said, the simple act of doing is the goal. So that's actually very similar to what Kurt Vonnegut said in his quote. The point is that you will have created something, right? Practicing an art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow. So when we can honor the artistic expression of humanity, not just the so-called great painters whose works hang in museums, but all artists in every medium and at every level, then we will be putting our first principle into practice, honoring the amazing creative capacity of people from every walk of life, and recognizing in their artistic expression the common emotions and experiences of all people, all equally valid and equally worthy of recognition. As Alice Walker said in her quote earlier, art should make us better. And of course, we could connect that with our fourth principle, the goal of world community with liberty and justice for all. Perhaps art could be a means of achieving that greater good. So when we think about, how to celebrate World Art Day, how to celebrate the creative activities and the creative potential of the people and the beings around us, I have a few suggestions, but I'm sure you could think of a few others, and I'd be happy to see them in the chat box if you want to share them. But if you haven't been to the Toledo Museum of Art, it's an amazing place filled with artworks of every, many different time periods, many different cultures and perspectives. You can look for local artists to support. So every time I go to Grounds for Thought, they're displaying the work of a local artist. Of course, Bowling Green has the Black Swamp Arts Festival, where you can see hundreds of local artists sharing their joy, sharing their creations and their creative spirit with the world. And then another way that you can celebrate this, not just World Art Day, but just this capacity for creativity, is to find a way to channel that creativity in your own life. Like Kurt Vonnegut suggests, dance to the radio, sing in the shower, write a poem, even a lousy poem. Remember this idea of mediocrity as a spiritual practice. You don't have to create great art. You just have to create, right? So that's where I'll close this principles connection. And I wish all of you the joy and the just the expressiveness that comes with allowing artistic expression into your lives. Thanks. Now more than ever, we are counting on your pledge payments and donations to help sustain and strengthen this congregation that is so important to all of us, supporting our efforts to be a community of love, truth, justice, and service. Please click on the link in the chat box or scan the QR code and be sure to select the correct designation on the drop-down box when you donate. Thank you. And during the offertory, we're going to watch a dance performance today from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland for the Royal Ballet, choreographed by Christopher Wheeldon. So enjoy.
Now is the time for sharing of joys, concerns, and milestones. If you would like to share a joy or concern, you can raise your hand by clicking the Raise Hand button in the Reactions tab, and we will turn on your mic and camera so you can share your joy or concern yourself. Or you can type your joy or concern in the chat, and we will read it. Many faith communities make space in their worship services for the sharing of life's blessings and hardships. Some call it prayers of the people. Others invoke the elements of fire and air in the form of a candle. Rituals are developed to share significant life transitions. Here at MVUUC, the elements of stone and water help give voice to our deepest feelings.
And now let us listen to hymn number 108, How Can I Keep From Singing? Feel free to sing along using the lyrics posted in the chat box, or just relax and listen to this beautiful arrangement by the New York City Virtual Choir and Orchestra.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, the far off hymn that hails a new creation.
No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? While though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth it liveth. And though the darkness round me grows, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost song, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? I lift my eyes, the cloud grows thin. I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths. Since first I learned to love it, no storm can shake my inmost calm. I hear the music ringing, it sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing?
Just agreeing with Lynn in the chat. That's one of my favorite hymns as well. Our closing words for today come from the dancer and choreographer Martha Graham. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours, clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep yourself open and aware to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open.
Please join me in reading the words for extinguishing our chalice that can be found in the comments in the chat box. As flame is to spirit, so spirit is to breath, and breath to song. Though we extinguish the flame in this sanctuary, may we tend it in our hearts until we meet again. Becky Laurent.
After the service, we will turn on all videos and microphones. Feel free to stay in Zoom and chat with your MVUUC members and friends, your fellow MVUUC members and friends, for our coffee hour. Maybe we can talk about our experiences of art or our favorite artists. Please be patient, as turning on the cameras must be done one at a time, and it can take a few minutes to get to everyone. And now for our closing song, let us sing Go With a Song in Your Heart. You can find the words as a comment in the Zoom chat box.
Go with a song in your heart. Go with music in your soul. Leave with the memory of a melody. Go with a song in your heart. Go with a song in your heart. Now until we meet again. The joy of music is our gift to you. Go with a song in your heart. Leave with the memory of a melody. Go with a song. Go with a song. Go with a song in your heart.
That is the end of service, but please feel free to stay for the virtual coffee hour that follows.